to all of you, and of course, welcome to this, our first Zoom experience. I hope that all of you have had the opportunity to download the Hanukkah service that was available on our webpage. Do you have that? Okay, if you go to our webpage and you go to live stream, you will see the Hanukkah service. And it's not a long service. You can either perhaps, I don't know if you're using iPads or desktop computers, but you're able to download that service and you can print it out. It's perhaps maybe 8 pages, or you can simply read it from your computer. But this will allow you to follow. So we're going to begin perhaps with an opening song we have, and then we'll light the Hanukkah candles, and I'll say a word about that as well.
I actually chose 2, one old, one new. Hine ma tovu manai sheverachim gam yachad. 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 The next song is an oldie but a goodie, and I was reminded of this song when I was looking for fun Hanukkah songs to do this year. It's an old Debbie Friedman song, and it only has 4 words in it, so even though you don't have a song sheet, you should be able to do it. The words are Nes Gadol Haya Sham. A great miracle happened there. It's a really fun song. I'm going to teach it to you over Zoom. That's the wrong key though. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. That's the whole first part. Try it with me. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Here's the second part. Same words. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Try the second part with me. Here we go. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. One more part, really easy. Nes, that's wrong. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Try the third part with me. Here we go. Nes Gadol Haya Sham. 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 Nes Gadol Haya Nes gadol haya sham, 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 nes gadol haya sham. Nice grooving, everybody.
We now come to the lighting of the Hanukkah candles. And as you can see, the menorah is facing me, but we put the candles in from right to left, and we light them from left to right. So tonight we have only 2 blessings, as this is the second night. And I hope you've had a chance to download the service. The lights of Hanukkah are a symbol of our joy in time of darkness. Our ancestors had the courage to struggle for freedom, freedom to be themselves and worship in their own way. These candles celebrate their victory, a victory of the weak over the strong, the few over the many, and the righteous over the arrogant.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem b'zman hazeh.
So the menorah should look facing you like this. So we're now on the second page of our service, and we welcome Shabbat with the kindling of the Sabbath lights. And this evening, Jay and Gail Miro are going to lead us in the blessing. And Jay, all of us would like to wish you a Mazel Tov, a very happy and healthy 80th birthday, and many, many more.
Thank you.
So if you want to read the paragraph right at the very top, then light the candles and we'll do the blessing.
We give thanks, O God, for Shabbat. May it be warm with love and companionship. Here may we always find rest from the day's work and refuge from cares. May our joys be deepened and our griefs softened by the love we give and receive.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Praise be the eternal, our God, ruler of the world, for mitzvot that makes us holy, and for the joy of this mitzvah, the kindling of Shabbat lights.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu
one of the nice benefits of doing a Zoom service is we were able to give out an honor. And we haven't been able to do that since March of this year. So we'll get better with technology. I hope that the pandemic is over soon, but until then, we have no choice but to get better with our technology and with our ability to be inclusive. Hanukkah is about the dedication and courage of the Maccabees. Believing they should be free to worship God, they gave their lives for freedom. We rededicate ourselves to work for the equal rights of all people as we rise in freedom to worship our God. And we'll read together. Hanukkah reminds us of our mission as Jews. Like the Maccabees, we seek to rededicate ourselves to the service of God. We seek peace in our troubled world. We work to end disagreement.
Rabbi Sam, you're muted.
Once our congregants love to have a button, for example, during the high holidays, let's mute the rabbi. See, something good may come out of this whole experience. We'll try that again. I forgot, you really don't want to hear my singing voice. That's why I had myself muted. So we'll read together. Hanukkah reminds us of our mission as Jews. Like the Maccabees, we seek to rededicate ourselves to the service of God. When we seek peace in our troubled world, when we work to end disagreements through mutual understanding, when we seek to mend hurt feelings, we rededicate ourselves to the service of God.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
And you may be seated as we continue with the V'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha b'derech, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We will love God with all our heart and all our might, now and in the future, at home and away, from morning until night. God's words guide how we live. Freedom is a privilege we accept now as ordinary to us. Yet the Maccabees fought for freedom in a time when servitude was a widely accepted fact. How did they value freedom? They considered freedom the most important thing in their lives as they staked their very souls for it. Long before our Bill of Rights or Constitution, they expressed belief in the ideas of freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of religion, and pursuit of happiness. We sing now our song of freedom, rededicating ourselves to pursuing liberty and freedom for all. Our ancestors taught us that we are part of a people devoted to ideals and dreams. The dreams of Judaism: freedom, charity, family, study, hope, peace, and unity bind us together with all the generations of our people. We rise now as we turn the page for the tefillah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imachot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. We come now at this time in our service to the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing. And of course, we know that there are so many right now in our community, in our country, in the world, so many people in need of healing, so many people taking care of those who are ill, who need healing, so many grieving families who need healing. So let us join together now and hope that this season of light will bring light to all of those who now experience darkness.
Yishabeirach Avotenu Mekor Bracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu, Makor bracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Could we sit here this evening, if not for the struggles in ages past? As a people, we have shown that out of defeat, we can triumph. Out of despair, we have hope. Out of death, there springs new life to rebuild, renew, rededicate, and rejoice. Let us take a moment now in silent prayer.
Oseh shalom bimroma, עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Over the years, we have experienced different Hanukkah jeopardies, and some years I have made them somewhat difficult, teaching finer points of rabbinic law. But this year I thought, here we are in our homes, we're celebrating Hanukkah, and I thought it might be nice to once again get back to the basics. Now, why is this night different from all other nights? Because during past years, I've been able to really see who shouts out the right answer, and I've been able to throw chocolate at you. That won't work this year. So nevertheless, I think we will try to put up on the screen, and I hope all of you will be able to see it. We gave it a trial run this morning, and everything really worked quite well. And you can see where you are able to raise your hand. So if you have an answer, we'll have you raise your hand and then share your answer, all right? So let me take a moment here. I'm going to share my screen with you. And
Rabbi Sam, do you see that Sandy has gelt?
well, okay, I don't have to worry about being hit with it, do I? Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to can you see the candles? Is that a thumbs up? Okay, good. All right. And you hear me well enough, yes?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. So here we are. The finer points of Jewish law. It is because of me that we light the Hanukkah candles from left to right. And the answer is, here I'm not giving you multiple choice. The answer is, any hands going up? It is because of me.
Come on, guys. Rabbi Sam tells us this every year. You can do it.
Yeah, I'm like a broken record. Now talk about hitting the mute button.
Janet, are you raising your hand?
I am.
Okay.
Hillel? Is it Hillel?
Well, that's kind of right, but it's not exactly. The answer is Shammai.
That's it.
That's it, right. So let's go to the answer here. So you can see Shammai, and I have the years that he lived, 50 before the Common Era to 30 of the Common Era. So this is this period of Jewish history known, really, we don't know much about this period between the Common Era. It's just not something we know a lot about. But he was, of course, a very famous scholar of the first century, an important figure in early rabbinic literature. He was the most eminent contemporary and opponent of Hillel. So Hillel generally took a more lenient view toward Jewish law, whereas Shammai was quite strict. And there was a reason he felt that we should put the candles in a particular order. And we'll come to that in a little bit. Okay, our next question. One day the henchmen of Antiochus arrived in my village where I lived. The Syrian officer built an altar in the marketplace of the village and demanded that I, a priest, there's your hint, offer sacrifices to the Greek gods. My response was simple. I, my sons, and my brothers are determined to remain loyal to the covenant which our God made with our ancestors. So I don't give you a multiple choice there either, because there is only one answer and there's not a lot of choices there.
Judah.
Close. So who was the father of Judah? Judah was one of the sons, right? But there was a father who was the priest. And his name was, you know the answer.
I see a hand raised. It's
okay.
2 hands raised.
All right.
But you're
Sam,
muted.
that's your
Hang
job.
on.
I'm not watching that. So what do we have?
Okay.
Who wants to take a guess at that?
Liat, can you unmute and guess? Can you, there you go.
The Maccabees?
Well, the Maccabees are the collective crew. The answer is Mattathias.
Oh, of course.
Right. Okay. Back to Sunday school, folks. Okay.
Mattathias.
Mattathias. I am the tractate of the Talmud where we learn about the miracle of the cruse of oil that burned for 8 days. Now, there are 63 tractates of the Talmud. So I am not giving you the answer because every 2 or 3 years I mention this particular tractate. Now remember, the rabbis themselves did not like the revolutionaries, the descendants of the Maccabees. Why? Because they usurped for themselves the office of high priest and political power. So because of that, they really were not liked by the rabbis, in spite of the fact that they did attain independence of the Jewish state for a short time. So they invented an interesting legend about a cruse of oil lasting for 8 days. Which tractate of the Talmud is that legend found in? And we have there an explanation of the holiday of Hanukkah. Take a guess. What day is today?
Liat, you need to unmute.
So today, what do we call, once we light those candles, and the reason we lit the menorah first and then the candles for
Liat, if you want to answer, you need to unmute.
Yeah, for
I'm giving you the answer. Tractate Shabbat. Tractate Shabbat asks the great question, Mai Hanukkah, what is Hanukkah? And then proceeds to give us an answer. The next question. I am the city where the Maccabees fled to after leaving Jerusalem. And it is from here that the 5 sons of Mattathias fought the Syrian soldiers. The great city of, not far from Tel Aviv today. I see Janet raise her hand.
Damascus?
A little bit south. You need to go a little south. So the Maccabees, of course, did not flee to Damascus because that would have been further into the
Syrian
territory, right?
Right.
Right. So where did they flee to?
Haifa?
There's a lot of oil there, true. That's today. Okay, but they fled to a city called Modi'in. And some of you who have been to Israel on our previous trips, I did a trip many years ago, a bar bat mitzvah trip many years ago, and we actually went to Modi'in. It's a beautiful modern city today, but that is exactly where the Maccabees fled to. All right, and you can see a lovely picture there of the city of Modi'in today. All right, this is not a hard question, but you have to know a little bit about scripture here. I am a collection of books that were not included in the Tanakh. What is the Tanakh? Torah, Nevi'im, Ketuvim. That's the 39 books of the Hebrew Bible. However, in my collection are books known as the Maccabees, which tell the story of Hanukkah. What is the
collection of books?
The Apocrypha.
Yep, that's it. Who said that?
Elsa.
Elsa, you've got it. Let me throw you some candy. Okay, perfect. Okay. The Apocrypha. There's other literature as well that you can learn things from, like the Pseudepigrapha, but we're not going to get into that now. That's not really included in our canon. All right, a longer question here, and now I'm giving you some choices, so you have a 25% chance of actually getting the answer, okay? After the Persians were defeated by Alexander the Great, his demise and the division of Alexander's empire among his generals, the Seleucid kingdom was formed. Those of you who are graduates of basic Judaism, remember the Ptolemies and the Seleucids. A deterioration of relations between Hellenized Jews and religious Jews led the Seleucid king Antiochus IV to impose decrees banning certain Jewish religious rites and traditions. Consequently, a band of Jews revolted under the leadership of Mattathias, right, and his 5 sons. This revolt eventually led to the formation of an independent Jewish kingdom known as the
Hasmonean.
Hasmonean, yes. Right, it's not Akiba, it's not Herod, it's not Yanai. Okay, the Hasmonean Dynasty. And you can see, by the way, this was short-lived. 165 before the Common Era to 63 before the Common Era. So about 100 years. And what happened? They couldn't agree on leadership. So what did they do? They invited Pompey to Jerusalem to determine who should be the leader. And you know what he said? I'll be the leader. And that was the end. Okay? So it's a good thing. Don't take your fights and your struggles outside of the house. You know, keep them in-house, figure it out. So the Romans came and they solved the problem. What did they do? They took over the land. All right. So that's the Hasmonean Dynasty. And there you can see a little bit of a chart discussing the line of the Hasmoneans. Okay? All right. The earliest version of Hanukkah is found in the 1st and 2nd book of Maccabees, which is from what?
The Apocrypha,
right? Okay. Well, these books tell the history of the Maccabees they did not become part of the Hebrew Bible. They were preserved by the church and can be found in collections of Apocrypha literature. The story found in the book of Maccabees are fairly similar to the traditional story, but with one major exception. There is no mention of the cruse of oil or the miracle. Hanukkah is instituted specifically for, that should say, 8 days, not because of the miracle of the menorah, but because it is modeled after this holiday, which the Maccabees could not observe while they were still fugitives in the mountains of Judea. So that holiday is Passover, Sukkot, C, the 8th day of Solemn Assembly, Shemini Atzeret, or D, the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
C.
Passover. Passover. Passover.
Passover. And I heard C, Shemini Atzeret?
Passover.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you watching the screen?
Yeah. Sukkot.
Really?
Sukkot. Yes. Kind of interesting. After the holiday of Sukkot. And interestingly enough, because the animal sacrificial system at that time was still observed, the number of animals as the holiday of Sukkot progressed became less. So they started out with many, and by the end of the holiday, it got less and less and less each successive day. So Shammai said what we should do is start with 8 candles and go to 1. Well, that's a real downer, you know. It's nice to build up to a climax, to build up and anticipate the light of all 8 Hanukkah candles. So what do? We put them in according to Hillel, right to left in ascending order in Hebrew, and we light them according to Shammai, left to right in descending order. And now you know why, right? Because of the animal sacrifices that were offered during the holiday of Sukkot. All right. The next question. What was unique about the menorah in the Jerusalem temple? A, it was made of wood. B, it was proportionally scaled 3 times larger than a standard menorah. C, it was made of glass. D, it had only 7 branches.
7 branches.
D.
There we go. Yeah, that was a giveaway, folks. That's a freebie. Okay. So, as you know, one of the official symbols of the Jewish state, the state of Israel, is the menorah. And here you see the menorah outside of the Knesset building in Jerusalem. All right. Couple more questions. In 166, before the Common Era, a search was instituted in Judea for those who had disregarded the king's command and had hidden themselves away in the wilderness. The task of the police was rendered easy by a Jewish practice which seemed to the pagans the height of superstitious unreason. The Jews, lest they desecrate the day of rest, offered an attacker no resistance on Shabbat. This Jewish leader put an end to taking no action on Shabbat in case of attack. A, Judah Maccabee. B, Mattathias. C, the high priest Menelaus. D, Jonathan, the brother of Judah Maccabee.
I'm going to guess D because the expected answer would be A.
Okay. The expected answer is A, and we have D. The answer is
A.
C.
B.
B.
Mattathias was the priest. And of course, you saw how that played out during Yom Kippur War, here. In fact, I have it in my library, right? The Yom Kippur War. Israel was attacked on Yom Kippur, and they didn't sit back because it was a holy day. They fought. Okay. All right, we're coming to the end here. The battle against the Syrian forces actually took many years and even continued after the death of Antiochus IV. The Syrians attempted to stamp out the revolt, but were not able, often because their armies were battling enemies in other places. At length, in 142 before the Common Era, the last of the 5 Maccabean brothers was granted complete remission from tribute and recognized as the high priest and the leader of Judah. This brother was A, Judah, B, Jonathan, C, Simon, D, Mattathias.
Simon.
A.
Simon.
Who said Simon?
I did.
Yes, that is the answer. Simon became the leader, okay? There he is in person. All right. And with that, happy Hanukkah. Are you back to a regular view of everything?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. I hope you enjoyed that, and certainly hope you learned that. I was just planning into next year, and I'm going to be doing, once again, the fundamentals of our faith, basic Judaism. However, we're going to be doing it by Zoom, so you don't have to travel to the temple, and the slides will be just like you saw tonight, so we'll be able to teach the class. That's how it's going to work. All right? So look for that in the January bulletin. The schedule will be in the bulletin. So we're going to turn now to our concluding prayers, the Eleno, and we will rise for the Eleno.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
And you may be seated if you'd like. At this time in our service, we think of all the people we love, those who are with us and those who are not. We remember the happy times we shared with them and the many things they taught us. We thank God for the time we had together by saying the prayer known as the Kaddish. So at this time, we recall those who have been taken from us during recent days and weeks, as we remember Jeff Kahn, Linda Kahn, Irene Goodman, Phyllis Ide, Dr. Jules Isaacson, and Sam Steinman. And we recall also, first from last week, where we did not have services because the office was closed because of COVID. And then I will read this week's list as well. Kenneth V. Abendana, Cynthia Berland, Gussie Bessner, Goldie Oaken-Black, Elaine Bornstein, David Britz, June Chabin, Eric Kahn, Fanny Fleischer, Joel Friedman, Helen Goldman, Alex Greenblatt, Mary Helen Handler, Samuel H. Harris, Vera Heilbrunn, George Kiden, Hattie Klein, Margaret Klum, Orman Solon Levi. David Levin, Thelma Lobert, Anna Merenberg, Philip H. Miller, David Morgan, Joseph Nast, Harriet Parker, Marilyn Sue Pereira, William Reinstein, Max Romanoff, Janet Beth Romanoff, Hilda Y. Roth, Elizabeth S. Rudolph, Bert Sakels, Annette Schwartz, Lillian F. Siegel, Rhea B. Schell, Clara Tarshis, and Marguerite Thal. And to those names, we add the names for this week: Roberta Abrams, Ruben S. Edelstein, Alan M. Adler, Sarah Albert, B. King Bear, Maxine G. Bash, Louis Ralph Bash, Shirley Bobowick, Alexander J. Kahn, William Flum, Frederick Phlox, Marion Folan, Gertrude H. Friedlander, Oliver Jacob Green, Marion Gross, Sam Himmel, Dr. Julius H. Jacobson, Seymour Canlon, Ruth Klamkin, Marion Kyle, Lillian R. Landsman, Herman Mainwold, Hedwig Mayer, Samuel Mostov, Benjamin Nadell, Rose B. Nathanson, Richard S. Nathanson, Sally M. Neal, Herbert Reamer, Herbert H. Roth, Nancy Schlosser, J. M. Shockett, Barry David Shockett, Corinne Schwartz, Brenda Sugarman Logston, Milton F. Silverman, Babette Simon, Francis F. Simpson, Burton Singer, Doris Block Solomon, John N. Wall, and Gretchen Zindorf. Let us rise now as we sanctify the name of God with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'yalmad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon of yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'gala v'zman karev v'imru amen. Shemei rabbah mivarach le'olam u'lamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei dekud shah barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim Eleno v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom yimromav u'ya'aseh shalom Eleno v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and give comfort to all who are bereaved here and everywhere. As together we say, Amen. As we close with our final song, just once again, I would like to make sure that all of you are looking at your emails from the temple. And I hope that you'll join us for the many different Hanukkah programs we have actually for each night of the holiday of Hanukkah. They'll all be on Zoom, and especially we hope you'll join us on Sunday for our virtual Hanukkah party, our first virtual Hanukkah party, and I hope our last virtual Hanukkah party. Hope next year we'll all be able to celebrate with a wonderful Hanukkah meal. We have a very special presentation now that the cantor is going to share with us. And then at the end, if you don't mind, I would just like to get a little bit of feedback from you about the Zoom experience, how you react to the Zoom experience. It would be nice to hear from you. All right?
So our closing song tonight is Ma'usur, and rather than us just singing it together, just us, I actually have quite a few friends from all around the state of Ohio singing 3 different versions of Ma'osur for you. So just give me a minute to share my screen and I will give you a special Hanukkah treat. In Sylvania, Ohio. For Hanukkah this year, I gathered some friends together from all around the state to bring you some beautiful Hanukkah music.
We are singing 3 different versions
of Ma'osur, an anthem about overcoming adversity
during difficult times.
From the classical Italian composer
Benedetto Marcello
to the Reform movement's own Debbie Friedman
to the old traditional version
with updated English by Julie Silver.
Wishing you a happy Hanukkah.
From our communities
to yours.
To yours. To yours.
The raging flows
all Jewish languages.
Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this is better than television, right?
There are no ads.
Well, I am going to solicit.
Jenna's going to do Kiddush after this is over.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do Kiddush and, of course, Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach to everybody.
Chag Sameach. Shabbat Shalom. Happy Hanukkah.
And then after Jen leads us in the Kiddush, I would just like to take a minute and just tell me what you think of doing a Zoom service periodically. I'd like to hear from you, what you like.
We appreciate you doing everything you're doing to keep us Jewish.
That was a difficult task before the pandemic as well.
So I have some guests here to help lead Kiddush. We are going to lead it in the traditional fashion and not in our usual operatic fashion that we do at home. Maybe we'll do that on Purim. Come here, guys. Come on in. If anybody has a Kiddush cup at home, please feel to grab your Kiddush cup and join us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho ve'ahava uvratzon himhilanu zikaron lama'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah lemikra'ei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim ve'shabbat kodeshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. L'chaim. And then we're going to grab our crackers because the truth of the matter is we didn't have time to make challah today. We were making dinner for a friend in need. But we do have crackers. You want to grab your crackers too? We'll join together in motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lehem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Now, as Rabbi Sam mentioned, we're going to stay on for a few minutes. Anybody that wants to chat is welcome to stay on. Thank you so much for joining us for this historic first Zoom Shabbat service, and hope you liked it.
Shabbat shalom. It was awesome. Thank you. It was great.
Shabbat shalom. It was great.
Oh, everybody.
So for some of you that obviously have been joining us on the live stream, what are your thoughts about doing this periodically? How do you feel about this versus live stream?
I much prefer this.
Uh-huh.
I'd rather go to the temple.
yeah, I would too. Yeah, I'm missing, the mitzvah meals are nice, but I enjoy also Lynn's cooking in the temple more.
Oh, way to redeem yourself, Rabbi. I wasn't sure what was coming after that.
No, it's nice to just have dinner with everybody, and
I think this is a lovely format from time to time. The problem is, I mean, I'm at my desk at my computer rather than my iPad, which I can move because when we rise and when we sit down, we're at different heights with different lighting conditions and things like that. So, I mean, that's a little bit of an issue, but it's so nice to see everybody.
What's the difference between the live stream? What is the live stream?
Well, the live stream you get to watch, but there's really no participation. So the cantor and I actually, it's being filmed, it's being carried live, but essentially there's no congregation. The congregation is in their individual homes, and we can't, obviously the cantor and I cannot see who is participating in the service, and we have no feedback. I was joking before you got on that we were doing the high holiday services, and the cantor said to me, did you see people for the Eleno? I said, what people? It's like I was like so disoriented not having a congregation there. So it's a very different experience. And from my vantage point, it's a little sometimes antiseptic. Here we are looking out into this empty room. So this is a little more interactive. We're able to see, etc.
It feels antiseptic to me. I'm all by myself at home.
Yeah, but you're with us tonight.
Well, I do feel, even though I am by myself at home, I do feel when I see the live stream services, I do feel at least that I'm participating in something that's familiar. When the services are taped ahead of time and then just played, and we can't see the chat because there is no chat, that is very much antiseptic to me. I get to see the people I love who are running these services, but it's not the same. So I think this is probably the best of all because we can see each other and we can interact to some degree. But at least the live stream that's really live is not terrible.
Yeah, sometimes, we've been in situations where not everybody was able to be there. And that's, so as we say, any port in a storm, right?
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks. Good night, Janet.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes,
Shabbat
thank you.
Shalom.
Good night. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, guys.
Well, at least when we do services like this, you don't have to worry about being late for your dinner reservations. Think about that.
That's right.
Shabbat Shalom. Bye-bye.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom. Stay well, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Janet.
Good job, Sam Fed. Way to get it.
It's weird because if somebody clicks the mute button first, the name drops, and that's why I accidentally muted the rabbi at one point.
Good job. Better job. No.
Yeah, no one minds, trust me.
Right. Exactly. Funny.
Yeah, but I do think it was good. It was nice to see people's faces. So, and I did learn stuff from the trivia.
There we go, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, this was very nice. I thought it was kind of nice to do it like this, and it's a different experience. It certainly feels more interactive. I can tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, perhaps if we do another one soon, we could maybe give people parts.
Yeah, I mean, for the healing service, we could always do that where people can read. We can do one like that.
Right, but even we're going to do that Shabbat Unplugged, right? And people can have their instruments and stuff. That I'd like to do on Zoom.
Is that next week?
No, Jen, when's Shabbat Unplugged? Is she gone?
I think that's next week. Let me see. I have my calendar right here.
I don't even know what day it is anymore. They all seem the same.
Yeah, Shabbat Unplugged next Friday.
Oh, we should send something out to tell people to have a little instrument. So it's Zoom, right? Shabbat Unplugged is Zoom.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sam Fed, we'll take care of you. Are you able to do next week?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great.
All right.
Everybody, well, So I'll see you tomorrow night online for the Hanukkah program.
All right. Adios.
Have a good one.
Thanks,
Everybody
everyone.
stay well.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
Get
Hanukkah.
get well and stay well.
Trying.